Hey, it's Russ Payton with the Role Playing Public Radio. This is RPPR episode something or other. I don't know when exactly this is going to get posted. But this is our post-mortem on Cointract Island. I figured I'd record this pretty soon after we finish the campaign, so our memories of playing in the campaign are still recent. So I have with me all three players, Lydia, Faye, and Bridget. RPPR's most innovative GM, of course.
That's me.
Yeah. And if people want to get more Bridget content, where can they go, Bridget?
They can go to patreon.com/Bridget fan. You can if you become my patron, you can join my Discord and you can watch everyone bully me with disgusting food pictures. You could also go to my Twitter. It's at unsatisfied kit, KITT, as though you're trying to spell unsatisfied kitty, and for whatever fucking reason, Twitter usernames don't have enough characters in them.
It's true. Well, don't worry. The new ownership's definitely going to fix all the problems with Twitter. It'll be fine.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it. So, Cointract Island was a very fun campaign. Action horror more than survival horror, but yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of survival horror games like Resident Evil and BioShock, and Bridge is, of course, the connoisseur of the Resident Evil franchise. I guess we should start with like the initial idea, like where I got the idea for doing this campaign, which was the first thing was just in general, I wanted to do survival horror as a campaign. I've always wanted to do something like that, but also like an action horror thing, because like I do a lot of like Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu, which are very dark horror games, but like I wanted to do a game more about like blowing shit up and fighting monsters rather than just running away from them and getting eaten or killed by them.
Right.
So, but then I saw the Crypto Island video, which was a scam where like we're gonna buy an island. It's gonna be a cryptocurrency Web3 startup island where you can innovate and be free and hang out with other crypto bros. And there's like this 10-minute video which has like ripped off Aladdin dance numbers that's computer animated very badly, lots of crypto in jokes, and it's just like, come join us, your house is only $1 million away on Crypto Island. And of course it was a total scam. But the video is still floating out there on the internet. I'll try and link it in the show notes. But the other thing was a video I saw on your Discord, Bridget, I think, which was, or we talked about it on your Discord, which was a video of some rich person. She had surgically implanted an RFID tag in her hand, and so she replaced all the locks in her house with RFID locks, and so she didn't have to have keys anymore. That was the big thing. She could just like push her hand up against any lock and it would unlock for her. And I was like, my first thought is, oh well, that's a Resident Evil thing. Like that's she's a zombie now. You have to cut off her hand, and that's the key you have to do to unlock the Falcon door or whatever.
I think it's so funny, because like so. The theory here, right? You put an RFID chip in your hand, and then all of and it wasn't just like the doors. It was like drawers and cabinets and like fucking everything in your house. If you wanted to open it at all, only her hand could open it. Like, one, you're a rich person. What are your maids going to do? Two, what happens when the power turns off?
Oh,
you starve.
Yeah.
And then three, you are living in a gigantic plate glass house. I'm not going to bother opening your doors. I'm going to throw your deck furniture through the wall, and I'm just going to walk into any room. Like how is this secure? What did you do other than needlessly complicate your own life? And I think that's what makes Cointract work, is like, not only is it convoluted technology, but it's convoluted technology that makes your life worse somehow.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the underlying. Yeah, that was definitely the theme in the game, but that's also like, yeah, just in general, like people like the rich tech bro culture, or just rich people in general, or just want to have tech to show off how rich they are, but it just makes their lives more painful and worse. Like, God, like, these are, oh, hey, we're the Bored Ape Cafe for real. We accept cryptocurrency. Then 2 months later, we no longer accept
We
crypto.
don't accept crypto.
Yeah, cash only, motherfuckers. It's just, I love it, and I wanted to lampoon that. So, just a very slanted, like I cannot. It is very cathartic. This whole campaign was very cathartic for me. Just like make the dumbest. Like my whole thing was like, what is the dumbest possible thing they could have done with this amazing technology? Oh, this. Okay, yeah. And
A
that.
slug vending machine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. I think was that you or Lydia who came up with that idea? I think.
You remember? I have a Swiss cheese brain. I don't remember that long.
Yeah.
Imagine remembering things. Couldn't be me.
Right.
So yeah, we should probably. Well, speaking of remember things, why don't we first start with our characters? Our three intrepid heroes. And
Heroes is a strong word.
Protagonists. I am using. I mean, compared to the tech bros, you are pretty heroic. You actually help people in the campaign.
Yes. Yeah.
And you actually accomplish the things you try to do mostly. So like
Mostly.
So yeah, actually, Faye, I'm really curious about your character. Indy, the
Index drop table.
Yeah, index drop table. So where did that come from?
I mean, you built an island of swindlers who think they're too smart to get swindled. So, like, obviously, what I had to do was play some fucking old kind of con artist who's like who's still doing the like cold read, hot read, pickpocketing, confidence game kind of shit. Because like all of those fuckers have forgotten about that kind of swindling.
God, yeah, you're right. It's like introducing a house cat to an island where
exactly.
The birds have no longer can fly or know what predators are. So yeah.
Indy is the invasive species.
Yeah, the apex predator of scamming. The rug puller of rug pullers. But I mean, I really like that. I think it was during group characterization where you characterized her as, or at least in terms of how you roleplayed her as Lady Columbo. So
yeah,
was that just because it's fun, or?
I feel like it kind of fit the whole like sleazy looking but hyper competent thing that I wanted to go for, and.
Yeah, because it's like people underestimate her, like Columbo, like that's Columbo's whole shtick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Lydia, I was very excited about because like you're the person who really introduced like cybernetics as a major like thing for humans in the campaign. Because the whole thing of Cointract is of course that cybernetics are used to control the creatures. But that's it. That's all I thought of. But obviously the technology existed, and you're like, well, obviously there would be human cyborgs. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't thought about that. So tell us about Ava.
So a lot of what I wanted Ava for was tech bros don't know how shit works. So you need someone to fix all of their shitty ideas that don't work. So, she's the person who crawls into the wall and fucking reconnects that wire that keeps coming unconnected, or
an actual engineer, yeah. Like
yeah. And then I don't know, I just think cybernetics are cool.
Yeah.
I think they're neat. Did you hear the note in her voice when she said, I think cybernetics are cool? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean it worked out very well.
Tell me about your 100,000 word fanfic of a between a someone with cybernetic implants and the person who does maintenance on them. Look.
I was gonna say what I was surprised. So obviously, okay, not to get too off track, but let's put a pin on this for later.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Ava didn't spend more time with the cybernetics doctor, but I suppose Ava had fucking Hathor to drool over.
Well, there's that, and I didn't want to take up too much time on that because, like,
fair.
Yeah,
we only met her the one time.
Yeah, we didn't really
You want it
establish.
to be like
Yeah.
a date situation, like maybe first date, second date, then she can have her hands inside you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
and I feel like if we would need a different kind of game, like we wouldn't be playing like a Fate heist game.
Yeah.
Like it
Mhm.
would
Right.
become a completely different game.
Right.
Yeah, it did kind of become a heist game. Like, I mean, obviously the finale is a heist. But because I didn't really have well, we'll talk about the plot next, but before we move too much of a tangent. Bridget, tell us about Felicia.
So I figured like I went the same kind of track that Lydia did, except I didn't. They like her job wasn't to be like an engineer, like how to make things work. It's just like all the like 900 million people that that make stuff work inside of Cointract. Because like there was the rich people island from like forever ago. It wasn't it wasn't like a crypto one, but it was like Rich People Island, and it's like, yeah, everything's great here, and you can party 24/7, and you never have to work, and there's always alcohol, and it's like, and what about the people pouring drinks? What about the people
Mhm.
sweeping? What about the people emptying trash cans? So I was like, well, I want to play one of those characters.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
the invisible like entire class of workers that actually keeps it running. Yeah.
absolutely. And then I ended up going with a bartender because I was like, well, she's going to need to know somebody like
Mm-hmm.
vaguely important just to be useful to the plot. But really any kind of blue collar worker would have been perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I also really like how that tied into how you became, the world's first successful cat girl. Because like that's the thing, like they have all these workers to maintain these invisible class of people. But like, of course, they would bleed in and like, burdening them or like, oh, you're gonna have to use this shit. Like, oh, you're gonna have to use all this technology that is less, experimental or dangerous or we don't know if it works or not. But yeah, it's fine. Just making them, beta testers for all this very experimental stuff. So yeah, I think that sort of thematically works too.
I had two kinds of jokes I could have gone for.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is the crypto never works when you need it to. So here are all of the ways that we just get things to open without like, so like imagine if there was like just normal latches on, like when we were talking about the woman earlier who had an RFID chip. Imagine if there was just normal latches that opened everything anyway, and they were just slightly inconvenient. Like, so that was the joke I was considering. But then when I was like, well, if I make her a cat girl, I was like, what if we could just do like actual cat things, but as a person? Like, what? Let's enjoy the comedy of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into, what if they just made her like a kill bot? Wouldn't that be really funny?
Yeah. No, that really did work at the end. I think, I mean, that goes sort of like the whole like our group like character creation session to sort of help start figuring out that, because that's when Dr. Chaos appeared, I think was during the session 0. And because that was the person who sponsored you to get the surgery and everything to become the cat girl. And
To become the cat girl.
And so yeah, I mean that really worked because we didn't like obviously the whole hidden assassin thing wasn't there at the very beginning, but it was kind of like we figured out during play. Yeah, no, I think that was one of the things that really worked with this campaign was that everyone was willing to sort of collaborate on sort of figuring out what the plot hooks were going to be and what direction it was going to go, because obviously I just like, I have a cool idea, I don't know what to do with it. Let's get everyone involved. I think it worked really well too, because all three of you really played off of each other very well, and you all had different niches, of like technology, combat and acrobatic stuff, and then like I'm able to actually talk to people and convince them to do dumb things. I think so. Like also the RFID tag. I think another thing is like all these rich people are now just like spending millions to build fucking doomsday bunkers and like trying to figure out how to stay in power after society collapses, which is like,
They collapse
no.
society.
Like there's this author who's like, oh, a bunch of billionaires paid me to consult with them. When we got down into it, they asked me, what if we built bomb collars, or what if I was the only one to know the combination to the food locker? Like, would you think that would work? Do you
Yep.
think the mercenaries would follow me after that, and like shit like that? So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think that, like, I can't but think like the RFID tag is part of that. Like, if I'm the only one who can physically open the the door,
I mean, it
yeah.
almost certainly is, because it's like, I feel like a lot of these people have way too much money and time on their hands and kind of just sort of test out things that they think would be good ideas like in their lives
Mm-hmm.
before coming to their boss and pitching it and starting their own tech startup and going out of business 2 to 3 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. All and rescued by a local government or
Yep.
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 Federal government or something like that. But yeah, so like, yeah, that was the whole thing, was also like we had this idea, or had the idea for the island, we made characters, then it's like we started kind of like a sandbox thing, right? Like you're on the island, you all have a reason to go back to the island, but then it's up to you about what you want to do. So
Yeah.
did any of you have like a strong idea of where you wanted the campaign to go, like when you started, or were you just kind of like seeing what worked in play? I don't know.
I certainly didn't.
Just kind of playing by the seat of your pants. Like,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, that worked pretty well, I think. I mean, for me, what I did when I was introducing the campaign was, or like, here's some plot hooks, and here's the local environment, and here's how, and that's how I started. So I actually did take campaign notes. So like for session 1, I had the ship, the people on the ship, the crew, and the other people going to the island too, and then I just had a thing called problems. Wild courier packs, roaming ad zombies, the modular synergy office, and
Moose.
Yep. Well, the moose is in the office, yeah. And then game on, the sniper taking pot shots at people.
Oh my god, game on.
Yep.
Went down like a chump.
Yeah, no, that was a good way to end the first session. Was Felicia fucking bullet time dodging.
Game off.
Let's see what else I had. I had the local NPCs and a new monster, hinted, and then scores. Yeah. Since you were all of you is like, we want to make money, we want to get rich from this. And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, that was all I had really, and everything else was sort of just like responding to what you wanted to do. Was there like a point at the campaign where you're like, I know what I want the campaign to be about, or I know like what I want my character to do by the end of the campaign?
I kind of, I don't know. I felt like I was playing. I was very okay. Let me rephrase this.
Mm-hmm.
I was very intentionally playing reactively because it felt like there were a lot of good ideas just kind of coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than like kind of push it in one direction, I wanted to see where everything would go if I just hit it with a bat.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because like I can kind of tell that was sort of like Bridget, Lydia, were you both kind of, was that kind of your vibe as well, or were you sort of okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because like from the group, before we started like session 0, character creation, I was kind of picture, well, what if they want to be like the people who take down, they secure the island, or they take out the evil scientists, or they stop the research, or if they want to claim, like, or they're trying to find a missing brother or something like that. I kind of had a lot of ideas like, well, what if they want to do this? What if they want to do this? And then I was like, the sessions, yeah, we're just people who have a deep relationship with the island, but we don't know what the fuck's going on, and we don't really care. Like, none of you were like interested in finding out what the truth was, like, because yeah, the whole thing about Project Mendicant, I had that in the beginning, like that was like back. I had backstory, like, because I didn't know if you wanted to find out the truth, like how the fuck are they able to do this? What the fuck is going on? It's such a stereotypical like plot motivation for characters in horror, right? But like,
you planned for a Delta Green, and then we were just like, no, fuck that. I want a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought for some reason that this is going to be a heist thing like the whole time, and I think that's why we went for like money and stuff because like it's Cointract.
Mhm.
There's a ton of money here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like it's all wrapped up in like really stupid things. So like if you were in like an
Fucking
office
watch.
building that was like on fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your bosses were terrible, like wouldn't you steal shit on the way out? Like would you just grab some
Mhm.
stuff? That's the assumption I was working under personally.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I kind of had that inclination. Well, yeah. Like I said, I had no idea how you were going to respond to the setting. Like, what kind of like character you'd be inspired to make to explore that island. So I guess I was assuming like, yeah, more typical like Resident Evil style characters. You're on a secret mission, or you're finding a family member, or you're trying to rescue someone, or kill, take down an evil scientist you have a grudge against. Yeah. But no, I mean, it makes a total sense. So you're just like, this is chaos. And yeah, I'm going to get that Black Panther watch. That's where.
Fucking Black Panther watch and the
Damn it.
goddamn
Yeah.
Gucci fucking
Yeah.
bags that we had to.
Do we still have that watch at the end?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's sort of unraced because like Indy was the one who had it normally, right? Did she pass it
Yeah.
on before she made
I
it?
probably slipped it into somebody's pocket.
Okay.
Which is extremely funny
Yeah.
because that means that like Felicia has a watch now.
Yeah. Oh.
That she can't fence because
Aw.
Indy was the only one that knew how to do that. So now I've got this
Oh my
reminder of
God.
Indy.
Oh, get fucked.
That's
A
amazing.
multi-million-dollar watch literally just uses it to keep time.
Like, oh god, that's
Really
great.
shitty multi-million-dollar watch too, like
Yeah.
a Marvel Cinematic Universe watch of all things.
God.
I bet she doesn't even use it to keep time. I bet she just has it on her in like a coat pocket and then just uses her phone like everybody else.
Yeah. I can
For
imagine
sure.
her putting it on her wrist, but just like it gets so scratched up because she's still like investigating the secrets of this Project Mendicant that like, it's just this damaged watch that used to be worth millions, but now it's just every time.
Scratched to
She-
shit because
yeah.
of her fucking claws.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, actually, it would become worth more. Because if you could prove the provenance of it, that it was on Cointract before Cointract
Oh my
got
God.
nuked.
oh yeah.
That's true. Collector's
Mhm.
item.
Yeah. That but you need someone else to sell it. Like Felicia obviously would not have like, yeah. You don't know how to fence that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that idea.
Priceless item, and priceless in the sense that like we literally cannot sell it. There's no price for it.
Priceless as in worthless.
Aw. But then that becomes the way like Felicia identifies herself to Ava, on the remote tropical paradise that Hathor is settled in.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I do want to talk about like ideas. Like this is the first campaign I can think of for RPPR that like I want to see what happens to these characters next. Like they, because like their main story's done, but like I could see like Ava and Felicia doing a whole other thing, like maybe obviously globe hopping or something like that. I don't know, like.
I'll admit that I've been thinking about what happens in 2 years when Felicia finally tracks down where the CEO has been hiding.
Oh right, yeah, you gotta gotta gun Vickis von Blurk.
Fucking
Yes.
God.
Blurk, what a name.
Die.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I realized though is like for a sequel campaign, like I'd have to figure out. I'd have to like focus it on some other ridiculous and evil aspect of capitalism. It'd have to be like
Mhm.
something else. Like,
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what happens, right?
yeah. What?
Cointract failed, but as we all know, once a tech startup fails, its next step is to get inducted into daily life in the military.
Oh my god. Oh god.
So we get Cointract on a global scale.
Oh god. It's like a fucking Metal Gear.
Mhm.
I could see that.
Awful.
Yeah. Because like you blew up the archive with all the data, like the entire collection, but like the leftover has some of it.
Yes, and you know what probably went with the island and like with the data that we had?
Mm-hmm.
Proof of ownership.
Yeah.
So all that shit now just exists and is free for people to be like, yeah, we can use it. We don't
Yeah.
have to pay you any fucking like copyright or whatever the fuck ever.
Yeah, I know that, like, my overall thing would be, like, the leftover, like, you didn't stop the leftover, and he had more power than the coup, and you didn't help any of the other two factions trying to control the island, so the leftover would win that battle. So the leftover is on the island and trying to rebuild and survive, and he sells some of the technology secretly to like the US or whoever else in exchange for like letting them survive on, so they don't fucking firebomb the island, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's, oh no, it's the no, so he has to stay hidden out of sight. But everyone else, oh no, it's just covered with toxic waste and no one can go on the island. It's too
Don't go there.
Yeah,
Or something.
yeah, there's a loose quarantine, but it's not really enforced because like he would build a submarine or whatever, like the same kind of submarines that use to smuggle drugs. So he just has to go to like nearby countries or whatever. And yeah, so like there's like it's like Island of Dr. Moreau, but like the end, like 5 years after the creatures have taken over. So right, you know, it turns into this weird it would get really fucking weird on the island. But yeah, like yeah, the technology spreads and then they start innovating on it. Like so it changes in different forms.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like that idea. Yeah, another thing is we didn't explore like what happens to like the chimera in the long term. Like what is it like to be, you know, what are Choppy and Bowie like in a couple of years? Do they mutate further? Do they, you know, evolve, devolve? Like, do they have health issues? Are they stronger and more independent? Yeah, does it like do their cybernetic implants need to be repaired or removed? Yeah, there's a lot of ideas with that.
If we were going to have a sequel game to this that included Felicia, I think what I would do is the same thing that they did with Wesker, where his like genetic makeup is super unstable because of his transformation. And so like he constantly needs to take some kind of stabilizer in order to just like keep from falling apart, like just his like entire body shutting down. So I think I would do the same thing with Felicia if we did a sequel game. It would just be like, yeah, it turns out that Cointract did not have sustainability in mind.
That.
Yeah, so maybe Felicia's just trying to find a way to like the technology to, you know, stabilize her condition or improve it or whatever. Yeah. I think it would also give the option of players, you could like make them retire them into helpful NPCs for the if you had a new character idea. Or we could do the Resident Evil 6 thing of having multiple protagonists in different phases.
Oh, is it also going to go on for 600 years like Resident Evil 6?
Yeah, he's also going to reuse the fucking elevator every time and the submarine.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the second we get on a container ship, I'm just gonna fucking lose it.
I don't think I would know. Okay, so I know it would not be like a regular container ship. I just found about it this recently, and I hate it so much that I definitely have to put it in the game. Like all these super rich people are buying fucking yachts, right? But like the yachts are meant for luxury, not actual. Like they can stay like near an island or whatever, but they can't actually cross the ocean. So if you want to go from the Caribbean to like, you know, off the coast of Spain or whatever, or Italy.
It's a yacht that can't go anywhere?
No, so they have these vessels called yacht transporters. They're super large ships that can like, they have a modified whole, like they can lower part of the ship down. So it's underwater. So the yachts can go on and then they lift it back up. And then they can transport like half a dozen yachts across the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean or whatever.
I want to kill.
Yeah.
I need to kill to feel normal now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So obviously there would have to be a whole thing on the yacht transporter vehicle because it's this massive ship and it has smaller ships in it. Like, all these fucking yachts.
But why?
Because you want to show off your yacht to your rich friends and, you know, as you're touring Italy or whatever. And then when you want to go to the Bahamas in winter, you gotta bring your yacht with you. So
Jesus Christ.
This is literally a worse
am-
idea than just buying a second yacht.
I am looking at a picture of this, and it is insane.
yeah.
It's what if a container ship was covered in yachts?
Well, yeah, exactly.
What the fuck?
Why did you have to tell me about this? This is like learning like some hidden name of God or something that like punishes you for knowing it.
Yeah,
This is insane.
It's not the best. So obviously I want to have it burn and destroyed by monsters.
Going over to movie night at Ross's house. Yeah, so this is VHS tape. Apparently you die a week after you watch it. It's been 6 days since I've seen it and I feel fine. I'm just gonna put it on for you.
Look, I like analog horror, okay? It's a very particular taste. Yeah.
I think it's hilarious that no matter how much like stupid stuff we come up for Cointract, like there are things in the real world that are dumber, more expensive, and worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if anything, like that's the thing. Like I tried to go as broad and as awful as I could with that, and it just didn't matter. There's a crypto island too. Like people are trying to make another fucking crypto island, and they're clearing land on this island in the middle of the Pacific somewhere, and it's just the fact that there is a Black Panther watch worth millions of dollars. Like
That's real, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
That's a
real.
real actual thing. I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, I just looked up like
Remember, we have pictures of it.
yeah, expensive
in the
ugly watches,
Discord.
you know, most expensive watches, and then I look for the ugliest one out of that list. It's not great. But yeah, so what were kind of some of like the highlights of the campaign for you all in terms of like, I guess the most ridiculous thing you put in that worked? Or
Off the top of my head,
yeah.
salmon sorting the fucking snake was pretty sick.
I was gonna say deboning the snake too.
Oh yeah.
Deboning the snake is pretty sick.
Yeah, no. You see, yeah, so the idea for the mall came from like each of you. I asked for a boss idea, and that was Bridget's idea. Because I copied this from her thing. It's a huge snake, like Yawn from Resident Evil, optical camouflage of many tails. I turned that into tentacles, and it's made from some octopus stuff mixed with a snake. So it's venomous and kind of smart, but not as smart as an octopus. It's the size of 2 trucks. Parenthesis 2 trucks.
Yeah.
You've got to win with words, babe.
Thank you.
So I was like,
really thought about it.
So that was in there from the very beginning. So like in episode 1, I had rumors like one of the crew members of the ship that brought you there got grabbed by them all and dragged into the sewers, and nobody saw it, but they kind of heard it. So like, oh, there's something under the docks. The captain offered, hey, if you could check this out, I'll give you some money. And you're like, nah, I don't want. We don't want to do that. So
it was hard to know. It was hard to know like what things was going to be stuff that we'd like. Obviously, like you can't give away the whole game. But it was hard to know like what was stuff that we would think was interesting until we got there. So like there's nothing that I was like, well, this sucks that I don't want to be here. It's just when you gave us like 4 options, I was like, which one of these is going to lead to something that I want to do?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean that's fair.
I think I ended up mostly picking like based on what character was telling us to do things.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because like I'll do stupid stuff for characters that we like, because I think that just makes sense for our characters, but also for us as people.
Okay.
I'll do anything if a cute girl asks you to do it, basically.
That was literally a problem for us at one point.
Wait, was it?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, right, Hathor.
She almost gave the whole game away to Hathor.
Look,
We looked all right.
look. Just because we hit my boss monster and then helped her doesn't mean fuck, I don't know where I was going with that.
Fucking,
Good
you
job.
designed yourself a girlfriend and then you dated her. Way to go, champ.
Hell yeah. That's how you win at tabletop RPGs.
The best part is I don't even think she intended it that way.
Well, like I wanted to make like intelligent like creatures or beings to at least attempt to negotiate to talk to you. So like the leftover and Vickis von Blurk all tried to reason with you at first, I think. And so did Hathor, and you're just like, oh, we'll listen to Hathor, but no one else. And I think that worked.
I thought it was cool.
Who would listen to what Wickus von Blurk would say? Come on.
Yeah, and the leftover had some like fashy vibes to him.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
he was not a good. He wanted global domination. He was not a good person, but he would have tried. Like you could have I actually did outline like the possible endings because I wasn't. I didn't want to assume what side you were going to do, even though I said like they're probably not going to do this, but I might as well outline it just in case. So if you sided with the twins, the lawyers, which are the actual Cointract company, if you'd helped them secure the island and secure the vault and all that other stuff, you would have become wealthy, but you would have to keep working. That you would have been like the people running Cointract Island, so you wouldn't be like you'd be one step below the board of directors.
But that shit.
Yeah, but you'd be rich and you'd be able to boss other people around, and so. But yeah, you'd have to keep working. If you sided with the coup, the IT director, with the Hydra and all that, and the offshore backers, they would also give you a big paycheck, but then they would have told you to fuck off, and you have to stay in hiding to avoid reprisals from the remaining Cointract investors. If you had sided with Claire, you would have become celebrities. You would have gotten some wealth, but obviously then you become a magnet for trouble, as weirdos are attracted to you, hounded by randos on social media, and political football too. If you sided with the
We'd be
leftover,
YouTube famous.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well,
no, nothing worse than being YouTube famous.
I mean, you would have actually like been in the mainstream, like celebrities. Like people would have offered you to jump onto movies and books, and so you could have found, like, you could have like chosen what you could have wound up and become like legit movie stars if you wanted to. Like I would have had you like, make a deceive check to see how good your acting is, or something like that.
Alicia, Instagram influencer cat girl, bringing awareness.
Yeah.
To the plights.
Yeah, so you could have become like legit like big stars, but you would have just had to watch out for randos trying to kill you, thinking you're responsible for all the evils of the world or whatever. But it would have been an interesting life. But then if you sided with the leftover, if you sided with the leftover and he won, he would have actually fled the island, and then but they'd become a global operation, supply cyborg monster mercenaries to the rich. Eventual goals take over. So you would have been like working with
villains sans frontier.
Yeah. You would have been like on a fucking oil rig, fucking Metal Gear 5 it, but it's just cyborg soldiers and that kind of thing. If you just not sided with anybody, you could have gotten your millions, a couple million in loot total, and then you'd be wanted by Interpol for questioning. So, and let's say if you sided with Dr. Oss, you would have become part of her entourage. Her life is about the quest to learn the secrets behind the biotech, the Project Mendicant, and that kind of thing. And she has a vision. She wants to remake the world in her image. So, also, a bit,
megalomaniacal bullshit.
If for some reason you had sided with Vanessa, she would have tried to kill you.
Obviously. She's like Vanessa Mean Girls, of course.
So those are the endings I sort of envisioned. I couldn't really see any other ending. Like Scavenge is you just flee and you don't do anything. Like that's the ending, and Vanessa is obviously the worst ending, but
Hathor ending.
Let's see. I couldn't really picture anything else though.
Yeah.
For a lot of the endings, like I'm glad to know what our options were, but a lot of the endings were definitely like either we help bad people or we put ourselves in bad situations. Like Felicia being like the world's only cat girl, after having been at Cointract would have been like the worst possible thing. Because then everybody who like wants the Cointract technology would be like, gee, if only there was a cat girl that we could take apart in order to learn what they were doing on Cointract.
Oh no.
Mhm.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, if you become celebrities, that would probably be like a plot is, dealing with a kidnapping attempt and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if at the beginning of the campaign, it's like, I want to be working with a secret activist group, and we're trying to expose Cointract and get the world to say no to this biotech and save all the creatures. Okay, I guess there's an activist organization, trying to do the right thing. So, but yeah, without that, I wasn't going to introduce like a white hat, like purely good faction that was only trying to do the right thing. Because, like,
I mean, if you're involved with Cointract, you have to be bad in some way,
yeah,
generally.
yeah.
Unless you're like, rather, let me phrase it this way: the kind of people who are giving us like quote unquote ending offers
Mhm.
are only going to be cut of the kind of cloth where like they are all bad people.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But like some of them would have, not all of it, like I said, only Vanessa would have like told you, would have actually tried to kill you. Like, it's just easier for most of them
Right.
to pay you off. Like, it's easier to bribe you
Right.
than it is.
Yeah.
It's just how you do business. But yeah, it's about business and like the sort of indifference to it, not even like purposely sadistic, just like totally indifferent to what is good and what is bad. Like, let's see, any other highlights? Like, Lydia, were there any highlights for you of the campaign aside from the beheading? The deep
I'm gonna
phone?
say my memory is terrible.
Mm-hmm. So, like, your general course.
I
Yeah.
really liked betraying everyone in the prequel game.
Oh yeah, the prequel game.
Sick.
Yeah, I kind of after we did the prequel, I was like, oh, that's the finale, is them fighting their counterparts, and I did throw them in towards the end, but like,
Mhm.
you weren't
Septimus.
Yeah. Well, it's like you weren't the leftover wasn't really the primary antagonist of the setting. Like,
No.
it's either Dr. Chaos or because she's the one who convinced the members that got all the coup together to try and overthrow the island, and she's the one who did the firmware update to make all the Chimera go nuts, all the Cointractors go nuts. Or the other one is the CEO, because he's the one who fucking set this shit up in the first place. So yeah, I did have like, Septus was in the assault on the power plant, and then like the other two characters, Sunny and Dr. Sunstruck and Samantha Carlson were fighting with the leftover to take over the tower, but like you all just avoided that as much as you could, because
Absolutely.
you wanted to do the heist. You're like, okay, well, you're not going to see they're still around probably. It's just like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you threw Septus at us.
Oh, I had to.
What
have
a
him make
little
a appearance.
fucking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So there was. Does anybody care if I mention it?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
There was someone said a comment that's like, I don't know where the line is between humor and derision, and I certainly know where that line is with Septimus. I want to make that eminently clear.
I again, this campaign has been cathartic, and the prequel especially. I think trying to really drill it, like we were saying, you just can't make it subtle. You no matter how over the top you get, no matter how terrible you show it, it's not as bad as reality. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's like people talk about, oh, these horror movies, like Jordan Peele's movies are too obvious with their theme. It's like, well, you kind of need.
Have you looked at real life?
Yeah, like, yeah, you kind of have to. Subtlety is lost.
Yep. Like when you have the fucking shithead that owns the bird site openly admitting that the only reason he suggested the Hyperloop was to stop public transit from being built. Like, you kind of have to go hard on it.
Yeah. Shit. Bridget, were there any other highlights of the campaign you want to give a particular shout out to?
I did like the weird flesh plant kaiju that we had to pilot around. That was neat. I think that would be a good like game sequence in its own, not like Earth and Cointract and stuff like that, but the idea of piloting kaijus. I think that would be entertaining. I just liked all of the critters. All of the critters were good because every time you introduced them, they were interesting and fucking terrible to deal with. Because we started out with things that were terrible, like the ferrets and the dogs, and stuff just kept getting worse. It was just kept getting worse.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
and we didn't even see the giant spiders. There were giant spiders. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
What?
There's so much worse stuff on Cointract we didn't even see.
Yeah, the goblins have to get their spider legs from somewhere.
Oh God, right? Yeah, there was the spider den or something.
The nest. Which yeah, I had sort of that's where the primary lab is. Like that's where they're kept, and so now it's a big fucking nest of the necrobiotic goblins and their giant spiders that they farm because they need lots of spider limbs.
They're constantly rotting.
Yeah, well, they last a while. They use them a lot, so they're only good for so long.
I do have to say I'm disappointed we never ran into the second iteration of the couriers.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. With the wolf crow.
Yeah,
and they were at the final assault, but like you
also I think we introduced them too late because we were past where they would have been.
Yeah, they would have been like when you were fighting the leftover or around that area, like leaving the forest and going to the neighborhood. That those sessions, that would have been a good spot for them, but. Yeah, I actually didn't want to introduce like too many monsters, in the sense I wanted to make sure that like maybe like introduce maybe like one new monster per session at most, and try and make sure I kept using the old monsters. So it wasn't like there's a new monster every single episode. It's just constantly changing. It's like, well, no, I'm trying to make it like consistent within the world. The couriers and the ad zombies were like the main things on the island, and that's why I introduced like stop sign later on, like the psychotic ad zombie that used stop signs as a weapon. I was like, oh.
I think that's probably the good thing about Cointract as a setting, as opposed to Versus as a game, is that there is so much more that you can do with Cointract because we just didn't have the time. We just there's too much. Like if we wanted to see everything in Cointract, that was like another 30 games or something. So it's good for you, the listeners, because if you want to run games in Cointract and hit wink wink, there's going to be so much more stuff that you can explore and do stuff with. And then it was just too much for us to do everything on our own.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of areas you didn't even visit that I mentioned. Like, yeah, I mean, you didn't visit any of the labs, and there's 2 of them: the security compound and the worker island. Yeah,
and tons of stuff in the towers, and like
in the
all
tower
the characters that we briefly met and then didn't do anything with. And
no, that's true. And if the thing is, I kind of like put a timer on it too, right? Like with the everyone gearing up for the battle at the tower. Yeah, because I didn't want it to get too diverged or too off a plot. And you kind of gave your mid campaign, you gave yourself a timer with like, oh, we got to get Hathor at the island before she finishes the rocket, otherwise that's gonna fuck everything up. Yeah, I do like that. I did like make areas that I wound up not using. Yeah, you're not gonna 100%.
I can use that for something else.
Yeah, that's true. Like I could do side games, like what happens at the security compound, what happens at the labs, or the worker island. Yeah, there's a lot of untrod territory. Is there anything you would have changed of the campaign? Like, but what your character or like anything you would have like. If you could change anything about the campaign, would you change anything or?
I think I would have focused more on like specific plot lines. If I knew that absolutely everything that was available to us, I think I would have focused on some specific characters that we liked, just to go more in depth to their stories and how they relate to us. But like,
oh, okay, yeah. Who are your favorite characters? Obviously, Hathor. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, we liked Hathor. The other characters I liked Claire. I wanted to do more stuff with Claire. Like I know she was like in our party and like there wasn't a whole lot going on there, but like I liked her. I thought she was a lot of fun.
Yeah. With Claire, I kind of Yeah, it's just a lot to run a game, and there's often a lot of times where like, oh yeah, that NPC is also here. Claire is here. So Claire was useful, like, oh yeah, well I can do this, or I can make this obvious suggestion, or like I can do this helpful thing that none of you are able to do, but isn't too dangerous. But yeah, a lot of times like Claire was just
The
kind of
bookkeeping, yeah.
yeah, it's just a lot to juggle. I mean, with any game. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you listen to Claire, she could be like, "Oh, we could do this for a story. Give me to talk to this person to interview them." Yeah, but like none of you really jumped on the, "Oh, I'll make you celebrities. You'll be famous and rich." Too much.
I think we all realized this would be a very bad situation to come out of famous from.
Yeah.
Yes.
I figured we were gonna know too much, and again, like being the world's only cat girl, like you don't want to advertise that. You really don't want to advertise that.
No.
Fair enough. Yeah. Any other favorite NPCs?
I really liked Claire. I kind of wish we had been able to get more time with Dr. Chaos, but
oh yeah,
we just didn't find her till the end.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. Like because you were working on other things, like you're working to help Hathor escape, and then after that, you were technically working for the twins, and trying to check out stuff and learn what all the factions were up to. So yeah, again, yeah, just if you'd like early on, like let's make a beeline to Dr. Chaos and find out what she's up to, then it would have been a much more focused, like heist focused campaign of like doing a bunch of minor heists to set up the big heist. Like we need to get these blueprints, we need to get this key card, and shit like that, so we can get in, take out this one person, or neutralize this threat. Yeah, it would have been more like a Blades in the Dark kind of thing, but with but yeah, I mean, I kind of like this because it was also like, the thing I'm curious about, I'm not curious, but one of the moments I liked was like, which surprised me, was when you were all in the neighborhood and you're like, no, we're gonna fucking kill that moose. Fuck that moose. We hate it so much. Because like so I had an original plan. Like I thought, it's like, well, the obvious thing to do would be to sneak into the cultist security office. And they could find the server room, and then Ava could reprogram it, so that all the security robots turn on the cultists, or shut all the robots down and all the cameras down. So that's what I thought you were gonna do, is like try and take over the robots.
Fuck that moose.
Yeah, no, but you're like, we're gonna kill that fucking moose.
Sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, no, we can do that. Because it was like,
I think I don't remember my exact train of thought like at that point in time, but I do remember thinking, we have fucked into this thing like 3 times now. I am sick of seeing it. I'm gonna kill it. It was something like you've shown up too much for me to not fire that gun. Basically, like Chekhov was tapping my shoulder.
Yeah, no, because
like I think if we hadn't accidentally run into it like we did, we probably would have just ignored it.
I don't think I would have hunted it down, but it did show up a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the whole thing of cultists, I just wanted like human foes, not just like, basically wild animals running around,
right.
So I wanted like, well, how about this? Cults are cool. Well, why would there be a cult on an island? Well, what if it started because they all got high on weird genetically engineered fungus that was growing off a weird creature? Oh, moose are big. Like, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Film students. Yeah, those are perfect cultists.
I was going to say, they're all just the fucking stack optimizers, like taken to the next level.
Yeah, no.
Like, these are have you heard about nootropics, bro? And then you're in a cult huffing moose fumes.
Yeah, no, it's true. And like, so it just had them as like wandering antagonists, not like it's a plot. It's like these are the assholes running around making the greeting hub miserable. They're just things that
these are the griefers.
Yeah, these are just assholes that you have to watch out for. And but and then obvious, and so it's kind of like my idea of like the ecosystem. So you have these assholes here, and then you have the lawyers and their mercenaries here, and the lawyers want to clear out and secure the island. And so, of course, they're not going to like the cult. And you're already talking to the lawyers. You're like, oh, well, our mercenaries are going to take out the cultists that, you've had a problem with. You want to help them. We'll pay you. And so you you force them to move, and so they go to the next populated area, which is the neighborhood, which is the area you're in, and they leave about the same time, so you see them in the forest. So they're just dealing with the same kind of shit that you are. They're just trying to grow and, brainwash more people. And you just keep stumbling.
Just trying to exist, and we keep bullying them.
Yeah, you keep bullying these poor cultists. So yeah, that was just like a reaction to your own. That was me having the NPCs react to you. And that was one thing I was trying to do, was like your actions change what happens on the island, and that was a.
So it's like that fucking picture of the dude on the bike reaching down with the stick into the spokes and going, "God damn it, who did this?" or something.
Yeah. If you had not helped the mercenaries, they probably would have failed. Then the cultists would have stayed in the greeting hub. They would have you would not have to deal with them in the neighborhood. But then they would have had they probably would have shown up at the end, because they would have recruited a lot more people and would have realized that everyone's making a play for the tower, and they would have shown up, and maybe they would have allied with one of the other factions, like the leftover or the coup, or actually maybe even the lawyers too. Maybe the lawyers get desperate enough, like, oh shit, we need more help. Okay, yeah, you help us, we'll get you some new interns. Yeah. So that would have completely changed the power dynamics by taking them out. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, that was the kind of thing I was going for. I feel like, the only one area that kind of I did also have a thing, Office Park. You chose to just go into the building and open it up from the inside to get the vehicle, which, the super heavy transport vehicle. There's another way to get it, which was getting welding equipment from the Office Coliseum to open up the gate from the outside. So you wouldn't have had to deal with the Venom Head. But to do that, I said you would have to go to the Coliseum, and you had to start your way at the top and work your way down. So what I had for that, which you have to go to the manager elevator via the IT passcode that you would have gotten. So you would have to start at the top. So the executive suites have food, drinks, creature comforts, and wandering sugar glider / raccoon chimeras, which are just meant as cute little pets.
Aww.
Yep.
They do so much crime.
They do so much. And there are also a lot of dead executives, because they turned on each other just out of sheer paranoia and cocaine. And so there's just a lot of dead executives. So these cute little sugar glider raccoons are, eating the eyeballs of dead executives.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
And then
They deserve it.
Yeah, no. And then in the middle section, so you had to go down from there. The gangs of workers have just gone paranoid too, and they are fortifying and they're fighting over control of the middle section. So it's like accounting versus IT support versus marketing, and they think it's the only inhabitable place left on the rest of the world is about to fall into chaos. So they're just paranoid as well. And so if you gotten through them, you could have gotten into the bottom, the maintenance section. And the maintenance people are just drinking and eating stuff from nearby vending machine ad zombies. They just want some booze. So if you brought some whiskey bottles from the executive suites, they would have gladly traded you for welding equipment. That would have been the ultimate or the alternate adventure. But you chose the dungeon crawl in the build chain with the Venom the Venom guy. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did want to do the Black Pyramid a little more, or the Coliseum a little more, just so I could describe cute little creatures eating dead people, all that fun stuff. I'm trying to think if there are any other alternate paths. I mean, we mentioned the endings. Those are the two paths I didn't expect. I had stuff prepared, but you just went the other path. So there was stuff I did that didn't show up. Yeah, but So I think, doing the Metal Gear thing is the campaign. The next campaign, I'll have to think about that. So I do know I want to use Fate Condensed for the actual Cointract RPG, which is the newest version of Fate. It came out like a year ago.
New versions of Fate?
Yeah, there's a lot of different
seems
versions.
Pretty... Yeah. It seems pretty... I don't know. Done? From the couple times I've played Fate,
it's pretty well.
They possibly update.
The stress boxes are now 1-to-1. You don't have a 1 box, a 2 box, a 3 box, because that seems to be a big stumbling block for people. Yeah, there's a couple other tweaks to it. It's pretty subtle under the hood stuff. Yeah. So probably if I do another campaign, it would be using fake indents, which is pretty similar. So, but yeah, that's the biggest change. Better probably introduce some new rules as well, specifically for that. But I really do like the Metal Gear thing, because then maybe new versions of like the Hydra and other giant kaiju-sized chimera that are then controlled by someone in a cybernetic plug suit. Because really, the more Evangelion jokes and references I can make in a campaign, the better it is.
Arguably, yeah. I've got a spreadsheet that shows that. Lots of research went into this.
All right. Yeah, Bridget, any final thoughts on the campaign?
No, I had a good time. There's a ton of things that I wanted to see or that I want to see more of, and it's just we couldn't do it. So I think another Cointract is probably definitely a good way to examine it, play around it. I don't know.
So
whatever's a good word.
Well, like, would you want like the sequel thing, or would you like another thing set on the island in the same timeline, just focusing on the areas your characters were not in?
I think you could do both, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I do alternate island things, they would be shorter. It would be like,
yeah.
Like do something set at the security compound and what happens there. Or do one where your workers just like regular ass people on the island when it breaks out and, trying to deal with that shit. Or something like that. Yeah.
I bet you could do one where we're playing some of Dr. Oss's lackeys setting up the heists.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a very easy campaign to do like 2 or 3 sessions.
Yeah, especially like that. You could do like a thing. I kind of picture like a funnel adventure where every player has like multiple characters to start with, and then it's just how many of them die along the way, where you're members of Vanessa's or Dr. Chaos's entourage.
Yeah, what's the fucking Dungeon Dice Classic or whatever the fuck, where you start with 4 characters?
Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yeah, that, but you're playing Dr. Ross's cohorts or whatever, and whoever you make it through with is whoever. Yeah.
Or like a fiasco game.
Because I was gonna say, because then you would you could betray each other. Because some of you would be working for Vanessa and some of you would be working for Dr. Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they start with like 8 people each, and it just got down to like 3 by the time. Just start with or X number. You're like 20 each, and it just whittled got whittled down to 3 each by the time the our protagonist showed up. Cool. Faye, any final thoughts on the campaign?
Could we have fucking recruited and gaslit that dude who was in the compound, who I thought made think I was his dead mother or whatever?
Oh yeah.
I fucking kept him as a pet.
Oh god, yeah. So he I think I explained it in that session. He was someone who worked in build chain for Cointract, but he had a side project going where the idea was, instead of having cybernetic implants, was to have biological implants grown from chimera. And graft them into humans. So his were like enlarged snake venom glands and fangs, and also the pit viper heat sensing thing, so he can see in the dark. But then he realized he didn't like biting people, so he started milking his own venom to make venom spray and venom paintballs, basically.
I hate him so much.
Yeah, and obviously he was not. The
not mentally sound.
Yeah, the whole stress of Ed watching wild creatures rip apart everybody else, did a number on him, and he got paranoid.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to kill everybody in the build, everyone who he thought everyone was a threat. So but I wanted to do also Dungeon Crawl where there's just one adversary. Like, you're in a dungeon, but like there's just one thing, and it really wants to kill you. In this case, it was that guy.
The alien isolation of dungeon crawls.
Yeah, exactly. Lydia, any final thoughts on the campaign?
It was a lot of fun. I look forward to the eventual sequel.
Yeah, no, I really do want to do it. I really do want to see what happens next in this plot line, and doing the whole thing of like, because like I've seen it now. Like, the term used to be private military contractors, but I saw a news article where it's like, this military startup in Ukraine is
Oh my
Startup.
god.
yeah, military startup. Like
What a word.
yeah. And yeah, you have like all these like people using civilian technology in war zones, like fucking commercial drones with 3D printed fins on hand grenades to drop on enemy soldiers and like shit like that. Like there's just using the future. We live in the dumbest cyberpunk dystopia. So yeah, that's something I'll think about. And Metal Gear is obviously a fun series of games to reference. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Well, thank you all so much for playing Ida Blast 2. We'll have, of course, by the time you're listening to this, the portraits and all the artwork of Cointract is on RPPR. The RPPR Patreon. I don't know how I'm going to publish the game, but I am working on it right now, and it's a Fate game, so I don't have to worry too much about the mechanics. Just writing up the setting and stuff like that. Thank you all for listening and being fans of RPPR. And again, check out Bridget on her Patreon and her Twitter. Faye, Lydia, sorry, did you have anything you wanted to plug?
You can find my extremely horny Twitter at the Doomed One, all one word.
Okay. And Faye?
No, don't bother me.
All right, fair enough. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.